Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a look at Lost in Space, the 2018 version. Now, as we approach December 1st, 2021, we are looking at the airing of Season 3 of Lost in Space, the planned final season. So I'm really looking forward to it. I have cautiously optimistic high hopes that this show is going to stick the landing. But as we approach, I wanted to review some of the concepts to refresh your memories that we had in Season 1 and Season 2. Now, the first one is what I see to be the biggest, I don't want to call it a mistake in the fandom, because even if a bunch of the fandom believes this and it turns out not to be true, I believe that our thoughts on this were guided by the writers. This is something they wanted us to believe as part of that tricky sleight of hand that writers use so that they can pull out satisfying plot twists. They want us to believe one thing while they actively portray the other thing. So what is this I'm talking about? Robot Robinson has always been a fully actualized person. This is a species of people, whether they are artificially or naturally occurring. The robots are people with the full range of emotions and capacity to form relationships that humans have. And yet, the fandom seems to think, a large part of the fandom seems to think that Robot Robinson only gained the ability to feel emotions, especially the softer, more intimate emotions, after he bonded with Will. But that is not what we see. Now, there are multiple evidences for this. You see Robot reacting with emotion before the moment when the bond forms with Will, because we know exactly when that bond formed. It formed when Will and Robot both touched the broken fragment of the ship at the same time. Before that, no bond. After that, you had the empathic bond. So, how do I know, or how do we know, or why do I suspect that Robot always had those emotions? Well, first off, you have Scarecrow, who also formed a bond, but you also see evidence of emotions in SAR. But it all goes back to that butterfly scene. Now, what was that butterfly scene? Now, in the tradition of pretty much every culture on Earth, a human's interactions with a butterfly symbolizes deeper emotions. There's something about the fragile nature of a butterfly, the fact that they exist for such a short time, that has always but they're so beautiful and they fly. In every single culture that I know of, butterflies are associated with the spirit, either life after death or a spirit of communion with nature, something innocent, something gentle. And in the butterfly scene in Lost in Space, you have a badly injured warrior reacting to a butterfly, reaching out for a butterfly. This is not just a generic use of the butterfly as we've seen in cultures across the world. This is a very specific reference to a very similar scene in the classic war movie All's Quiet on the Western Front. This is kind of a mirror image of that scene. In All's Quiet on the Western Front, you had an injured, tired soldier reaching out for a butterfly because of curiosity and wonder and a longing to explore. But in All's Quiet on the Western Front, this was the end of the movie. The soldier was one of the many soldiers that came in groups from Great Britain, went out with all of his friends, and slowly, one by one, watched all of his friends die. And then just as this particular character shared an interest in butterflies with his sister, he reaches out for the butterfly and he's shot. And that's the last member of his friend group to die, and that's the end of the movie. It was a really telling historical commentary on brutal consequences of World War I. We have the mirror image of this in the scene in Lost in Space. It's at the beginning of the show. This is at the beginning of the friendship. But you have the wounded soldier in a combat situation. He's trapped. He's fearing for his life, and he sees the butterfly, and he reaches out for the butterfly. In this case, when he reaches out for the butterfly, instead of getting shot, Will shows him compassion. Will frees him. Robot rescues Will and begins taking care of the Robinsons. There was in universe, there's a nearly 2-day time period where Robot is actively taking care of the Robinsons, showing compassion, showing curiosity, and building up and establishing his presence as a person before that bond forms with Will at Robots Down ship. So there is plenty more evidence that Robot has always been a person with a full range of human emotions before he bonded with Will. But again, I think the main piece of evidence is that butterfly scene. You see a person reaching out for that symbol of the spiritual, of something beyond the materialistic, reaching out for eternity before Will has ever touched him, before the bond had any chance to form. So that's my thoughts on the matter. Robot Robinson was always a person. The species of robots are people, whether they are artificial or naturally occurring. And as we go into season 3, I think the personhood and the motivation of the robots is going to play a huge part in the story. And I am really, really looking forward to this and learning more about the robots' perspectives and what they were all doing and why they were there. All right, but we still have nearly 2 weeks to go before it releases. So if you want something to fill in the time before you get to watch the next season of Lost in Space, go check out my books. The link's below the video. Humans Are Weird. I have the data. Humans Are Weird. We took a vote. I'm sure it's a perspective that the robots would agree with. So peace out, my wonderful viewers. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you later. Humans Are Weird. We took a vote, and Humans Are Weird. I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.